Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Growth Shift. Thanks for joining me today. Today, I'm excited to welcome Jazz Vega, the co-founder of Symphony No. 3 Rum. We're kicking off today by learning about Jazz's background, then explore the biggest trends, successes, and challenges he's seeing in the market. Jazz, could you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and Symphony No. 3?
Amazing. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. So, a little bit about myself. Born and raised from New York. Been in the hospitality, liquor, wine industry for the past 18 years. Started off as a bar back, worked my way up in a private club called Soul House. Little by little, started learning about the ins and outs of hospitality, the food industry, became the purchasing manager, and then grew fond of everything that was going on in the hospitality industry. Learned what wine reps, liquor reps do, and fell in love in that world. And here I am today. We just hit 4 years for Symphony. And the thing about Symphony is that it's a group of people coming together to do something really cool, unique in the rum world. We are 100% Floridian sugarcane rum, aged 3 years in X-rye barrels. And it's like a little pun on my name, Symphony, Jazz, and the three guys that started it. And here we are today. We're available in New York, New Jersey, Florida, California, Connecticut, and Puerto Rico. And we're available to ship to your house in, I believe, 47 markets. But, as we continue to build, we're looking to do more markets. So it's an exciting time for us. We're still a small company, still owned by the friends and family, not corporate control at all. And really excited to talk to you about it.
Fantastic. What was the early spark, how you decided, I want to make rum?
Yeah, so I just saw that there was a huge gap in the rum industry. So, when you're thinking of rum, you're thinking Bacardi, Zacapa, On Q, Baralito, these kind of rums. And I wanted to do something that was new, fresh in the industry, something that was very unique, but it captivated a lot of the younger audience. And when I say younger audience, I believe, between the 20 to 35 category, but it's also approachable for the older category as well because it's aged. And it's neat and it's very interesting because when you're thinking of classic cocktails, you're thinking of something that is much more well rounded, that can go into, your neighborhood high end bar as well as your restaurant. And so that's what we were thinking about for Symphony. We wanted to do something very fresh, unique, and we thought that rum was a category that we had a lot of space to grow in long term, and we didn't want to go into tequila or anything like that super hot right now. We wanted to grow within the category and build education and build the brand.
Fantastic. Well, now that we know how your journey began, let's zoom out a little bit and look at the bigger picture of the industry. What major trends are shaping the alcohol and rum space right now?
Yeah, I would say a major trend is a lot of education. People love storytelling. People love to be a part of the brand. And I think that that is going to be huge for us in the future. Continue to build a brand organically, the Tito's way, going to knocking on doors, building it at your neighborhood accounts. And really, word of mouth is our superpower, I feel. I think that for us to really build, we need, your neighborhood bars to get behind us and stuff like that. So I say the future for us is a lot of roadway and to do it the right way, rolling up the sleeves, the organic way. And that's kind of how we're approaching Symphony.
Okay, fantastic. How about consumer behaviors and trends? What shifts are you seeing as you've been building your rum brand?
Yeah, so I mean the obvious one is, I think, we're seeing that people are hesitant to drink, but that's okay because, they want to be exploring different categories, and we find that to be opportunistic. So, as people start to learn more about rum, we feel like we have an edge because, a lot of people don't know that rum is an eclectic spirit. It can go into, you know, espresso martini. It could go into a Manhattan, and people already program, vodka, espresso martini. But we can open up that pitch. So we feel that education, brand building, and accounts is something that's going to be part of our initiative in the years to come. But we think that the rum space is very unique. So many people come up to me and go, "Oh, I really don't drink rum." I'm like, "Well, do you go on vacation? Do you like pina colada? Do you like daiquiris and stuff like that?" And they go, "Yeah, I didn't really think about that." And I think that that's something that we want to continue to educate, continue to do free tastings and build the brand that way because people need to know what is unique and what is fresh. And I feel like with us having a 3 year aged X rye barrel rum is something new and innovative in the space.
Absolutely. Well, with all those trends around you, I'd love to kind of bring it back to you and your team and what's been working. What's a recent win or milestone that you're especially proud of with Symphony Number Three Rum?
Yeah, so for us, I'm a kid from New York City, born in the Bronx, and we recently got a cocktail menu at Yankee Stadium, which was huge. Just like my hometown baseball team taking in my brand, and when people go in, they're Instagramming it, they're tagging me. I love to see that, as well as we're in 73 total wines in New York, New Jersey, Florida, and California. So seeing that the brand is continuing to build outside of only New York is good. And then as we continue to build in Puerto Rico, the response has been overwhelmingly great. We're doing something unique that takes time to grow, but we see the signs for the brand.
Some I bet that's a tough market breaking into Puerto Rico. The Caribbean is known for their rum. So to
Yeah,
accept another rum is that's a huge win, I would imagine.
for sure. I mean, they call it the rum capital of the world.
Right?
Once you come off the airplane, literally you see pictures of rum and the maps and everything in detail of the rum history. So for sure.
Absolutely. Okay, so other than that, what are some other things that are really working well for you right now in building your brand?
You know what? Have to say the people behind the brand. The people behind our brand is super supportive. They're very brand forward. They're very what can I do to get it into my neighborhood bar or my neighborhood account? And the people behind the brand really represent what we're trying to build. It's a group of people that come from all different types of worlds. It's not just Hispanic. We have different people from different parts of this world coming together and doing something totally unique, totally fresh. We have a woman from Ukraine. We have a guy from the Netherlands. We have a guy from Scotland, a guy from Trinidad, all coming together and doing something super fresh and very culture forward. And I think that is super unique that you won't see in any kind of other rum category or a company that having all these different types of people having their own mindset of, this is really cool. We should push this forward for Symphony. I think that is our edge. The people behind the brand really represent where we're trying to go in the next, 3 to 5 years.
That's fantastic. With all those wins in mind, let's flip to the other side of the journey, kind of the tough stuff. What's the biggest challenge you faced recently?
Yeah, I mean the landscape right now is a lot of celebrity driven brands, a lot of people that, they put a face to a brand and, they resell it in 3 to 5 years. We're trying to do something that lands the test of time. What we're trying to do is something that is totally it doesn't have a face to it. People don't automatically think of Tito and Tito's vodka. They just know Tito as, the person behind it, but the brand stands the test of time. It goes into every door. You don't need to know that what his face looks like. And that's what we're trying to do with Symphony. We're trying to make a brand that is totally unique. So for us, we find that celebrity driven brands are tough to go up against. We understand that we're not Bacardi. We understand we're not Zacapa. We are our own thing. We are a niche brand that is, trying to do something elevated in the rum category and kind of always educating people behind that. I was a bartender. We have a couple bartenders that work for the brand. That is something that we want to lead forward. We want to tell people, hey, we understand what it is to come from the hospitality industry. We understand what it is to build a brand. And that's kind of what we're, telling people, door to door as we go out there.
Sure. So you mentioned door to door. I was going to say, how are you getting that messaging out besides door to door?
Yeah, so social media has been huge for us. We partner with a lot of influencers for sure. And, we've been doing a campaign where it's real people, real stories, and they're all, either in the industry or they love the brand. And we also focus on artists, curate, like, experiences, campaigns with regards to, people that we align ourselves with. We're very smart with that. We think that we're trying to, be a brand that can go to LVMH one day and be presented in that kind of category. Symphony demands that. So, not only just door to door, we believe that the people behind the brand have been spreading it in the art world, in the music world, in fashion. These are the kind of things that we want to always present Symphony and align it to that.
Fantastic. What do your customers say about Symphony? How do they compare it to others?
I mean, the great thing about Symphony is that, we're doing something that's a brand that is, approachable in price, but over delivers. And so when you're thinking of Symphony, the 3 year aged rum, you're thinking of a high end whiskey that you can have neat. And so people automatically go, wow, this tastes like a high end whiskey or something. This doesn't taste like a rum. It doesn't have a bite to it. That's what we want to leave for it. And since we won the San Fran World Spirit Awards for the gold selection, well, people have been opening their palate to what we're doing and what we're aging and what we continue to age. So that's been the feedback. The feedback is just overwhelmingly great. They love the packaging. Minimalist meets something that's high end for an approachable price of roughly $49.99 if you go to Total Wine.
Fantastic. So, all of that sets the stage perfectly for what's ahead. Let's look forward. What are your top priorities in the next 6 to 12 months?
Yeah, so I want to continue to build in Puerto Rico. I want to continue to build in New York, of course, and then start really opening up new markets, like little markets like Nashville, which we find to be very interesting, as well as we're starting to talk to, London and the UK a bit more. So as we continue to build, we want to explore new markets, but our focus markets right now are Puerto Rico, building that culture, that bartender culture, as well as in New York. It's my home market. Our business is heavily here in the market, but we want to spread the word, especially in California as well. So we just partnered with a new distributor in California and continuing to build the symphony way, the ethos, the people behind it, because we feel like that's the value.
Fantastic. If everything goes right, what does success look like a year from now?
Yeah, so success to me is, I'm going out, people know what the brand is. They know, okay, the story. They know that it's available on our site. They know that they could get it at Total Wine. I feel like true success is if you go to a bar that they don't know who I am and they go, yes, I've heard of Symphony. That is a huge value. Going into any market, I feel like that provides so much value, especially for a small brand like us, an artisanal brand, a niche brand. That to me
Yeah. You mentioned kind of building out Puerto Rico, Nashville, London, UK. What's your approach for that?
Yeah, so for us, we feel like we do very well in your neighborhood bars. We have that kind of rapport with the owner where we're doing intimate setting events. We believe that that's something really huge for us, curated high-end events. And as we continue to open these markets, we want to continue doing that symphony series of we're popping up, we're inviting, 10 to 15 people curated from the art fashion world coming together, doing something new, fresh, and innovative. And that's kind of like our approach as we continue to open, as well as myself or the team doing tastings at your local liquor store. That's kind of what we're trying to build the culture forward for Symphony.
What about bartenders? Are you reaching out to bartenders, individual bartenders, or are you going the distributor route or both?
Yeah, so we're with Southern Wine and Spirits in New York, which is the biggest distributor. And as we continue to open up new markets, we really find like brand ambassadors to really come behind the brand, especially your neighborhood bartenders. My focus right now in the next 6 months is to really do more in Puerto Rico to build in the rum capital of the world. We have these really cool bartenders that organically reach out to us and they go, hey, we want to be a part of this. This movement is really cool. We love that you're a small batch brand. These kind of things really resonate with the people, especially since we're not backed by a conglomerate or anything like that. That is something that's really fresh and new. And so bartending culture is definitely top priority, especially since I've been one. And actually the people that behind the brand, they all actually were bartenders. So it's really cool to have that in your kind of arsenal of people that know what it takes to sling drinks behind a bar, to see what is working, what is not, and push that brand forward for sure.
Fantastic. Well, some advice that you'd offer to somebody starting in this industry today?
Yeah, I have so much advice, but the number one thing is just moving forward. We started in the heart of the pandemic. It was a lot of challenges. We were going on premise, which is restaurants, bars. Then we were transitioning to off premise, which is liquor stores. And, it was just one of those things that, then it was just so many things happening at once. World was ending, all these things coming out. And we transitioned to e-commerce, which really made us stay afloat for a while until Total Wine came in and whatnot. But I would say persistence in this industry is very vital. You're going to hear a lot of no's. You're going to hear a lot of things that are doom and gloom. But I think being persistent and always being positive is something that helped me, helped the brand to continue to push through. Always being open minded, always leaving the ego at the door has been something that has been true value for us.
Fantastic. So I know that your rum is aged for 3 years. How long have you been on the market?
Yeah, so we just hit 4 years operational last month, and we started this process 5 years ago. So it's one of those things that it's very near and dear to me. And as we continue to grow, we're going to continue to age our expressions and in different ways. It's not always going to be with rye. It's always going to be different, fresh, innovative. But our focus right now is going to be building out Puerto Rico.
Fantastic. So you've been into the market then for 2 years then on the market?
No, we've been in the market. We started off with a white rum, then we started off with a 3 age. So altogether, 4 years.
4 years. Okay,
Yeah,
I got you. All right.
yeah.
Well, such a great note to end on. For listeners who want to connect or learn more, where can they find you online, Jazz?
Yes, it's www.symphonyno.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for sharing your insights, and thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this.
My pleasure. Thanks for being here. Really enjoyed the conversation.
Likewise, likewise. Thank you.